What is the worst thing you have done because you got confused between items in different hands? This was my brother, but I was on the receiving end. We were at a country club for a wedding one evening and there were various backgammon games set up. This happened so long ago I don't even remember how to play backgammon anymore. But it was my brother's turn and he was excited. So excited he slammed his glass of bourbon down on the game board and thrust the dice cup full of dice into his mouth. Totally worth being covered in watered-down liquor to witness such buffoonery. I dipped my chips in the water, had a little "I'm such a dumbass" moment in my head, then proceeded to drink the salsa, threw a glass of water on my bed instead of a book. Why were you going to throw water on a book? The book was Dune. I cracked an egg, poured out the egg into the trash and put the shell into a bowl. A week ago I poured the egg in a napkin on the countertop. It slid off the edge. I was writing while drinking Coke. I ended up stabbing myself in the face with a pencil. Okay, but did you draw with your Coke? Probably made some pretty straight lines TBF. I have put the house phone in the fridge and left the milk out more times than is healthy. The fridge is now the default first place I look if the phone is not on its cradle. My friend, I am genuinely worried. Drink paint water and whilst washing my brush and my cup of tea. Two simultaneous fuck-ups. This is the kind of fear I always have when painting. Imagine the disaster if you were using oil paint solvents instead of water. Greater than eating sandwich at beach. Greater than skipping stones. Greater than watching the sunset and thinking about life. Greater than throw sandwich into ocean. Greater than bite rock. People saw the fish be eating good at least. Dipped my tortilla chip in water. Still better than a toast smoothie. I had a lens cleaner spray in one hand and a mouth freshener spray in the other. Guess what I did? Killed a family of 4 and got a new identity. Well, he did say guess. Threw away $5, tried to pay a cash register with candy wrappers. I am cracking up. What did the person behind the counter say? Was drinking a hot cup of coffee on the back porch while throwing a ball for my dog. To be fair, it was like 4 a.m. and the pup wasn't hurt. But my favorite mug got rearranged and the tree got some dirty bean water. My husband cleans the cat litter box and puts the gleanings in a tied-off plastic grocery bag. He also puts his lunch in a tied-off plastic grocery bag. When he goes to work he takes both bags outside. One to come with him and one for the trash can. Mistakes have happened. I had a cup of coffee and a little single-serve container of coffee cream. Monsieur, I opened the cream container, poured its contents into the trash, and then dropped the empty container into my coffee. Before coffee fugue is a real problem, monsieur. The other day I tore open a packet of sweetener. Almost poured it in the trash. Took milk out of fridge. Got coffee in the mug successfully. Went to put milk in fridge without pouring any. Realized. Opened it and almost poured milk into the bottom shelves of the fridge. Computer keyboard under one hand. PS4 controller in other. Wondering why what I'm typing in computer won't show in PS4. I have one keyboard that syncs to my phone, tablet, and computer. The number of times I've sent random work-related words as text messages to my wife is embarrassingly high. Funny enough, I threw my phone in the trash just this morning and realized only after dumping the trash into my clothes bin. Why do you throw your phone in the clothes bin? Presumably because they were trying to toss it somewhere with a soft surface. A couple minutes ago I unwrapped a stick of gum, stuck the wrapper in my mouth, and threw the gum in the trash. Did you end up eating the gum? I just grabbed a new stick. Phone in one hand, open Pepsi bottle in the other. Threw the wrong one on my bed. This isn't it mixed up hands story, but it's in the same vein. So one day after delivering an order whilst on my former pizza delivery job, I was walking back to my car. As I walked, I took my car key between my fingers, and my brain told my hand, okay, hand, the next thing you're going to do is insert that key into the ignition to start the car. And my Hand was like, okay, word, I got this. Then as I sat down in the car, my brain said to me, quote, Panhead 09, you should probably take your phone out of your pocket and charge it before starting the car. The battery is getting low. And I said, that's a good idea, brain. You should pass that along to my hand. And my brain said, I think I'll do just that. So my brain relayed this message, which had to pass through my arm and as the message was about at my elbow. My arm said, charging the phone. Got it. I'll get this process going. And so my arm started moving to get my phone out of my pocket. But here's the thing. My arm started moving before the new message made it to my hand. So while my arm was all excited, going, oh yay, that phone is gonna get so charged, my hand was still in its own little world, thinking, insert the key and turn on the engine, insert the key and turn on the engine. Anyway, that's how I ended up stabbing myself in the leg with my car key. Delivering pizza, my erstwhile job, walked to the car, holding the fob, aiming to start, but first charge the phone. The idea was had. My arm moved alone, into the keyhole, so said my brain, and into my leg. I now feel the pain. This is my story, about mixed up hands, related with liberty, as poems demand, disposing leftover bones into the thrash and placing the plates into the sink. I grabbed the bones with my hand and tossed the plates into the thrash bin and started washing the bones before realizing what I've done. Friend, you need more sleep. When I'm snapping the ends off the green beans, sometimes I throw the bean in the trash and the end in the bowl. Not too funny, but at least it's true. I do this all the time. Or if I have two piles, one of the snapped off ends and one of the actual beans, sometimes I'll get confused and end up with a mixture of the two. Then I'll have to go to sorting through the piles. This is the most boring story I've ever told Reddit. I grabbed my banana instead of the conductor's baton on the music stand as I began conducting the orchestra and chorus during a rehearsal. The musicians followed the banana very well, as if it were intentional on my part. Some thought the curve aided in making the performance more expressive. Put a wad of tissues in the laundry basket and threw my socks into the toilet. By the way, you shouldn't throw tissues in the toilet. It's becoming clear to me from this thread that humans holding a cup in one hand and literally anything in the other hand is a recipe for disaster. Autopilot is a hell of a drug. It doesn't happen often, but getting to witness another person's autopilot failure is one of the great small pleasures in life. Only in one hand, but poured a drink onto myself that I was sipping through a straw. I do this way too often. I had a cup of coffee and a scented candle. I drank the candle. Was it melted? What happened after? Thankfully the wax was warm but not molten, and I realized what was up before any got in my mouth. My dad almost smoked from the hot part of the bong and my brother saved him, lol. I once picked up my toothbrush and then instead of picking up toothpaste I picked up a tube of cortisone. Luckily caught myself. I also once picked up a razor instead of a toothbrush and just stared at it. Another time I poured water on the floor instead of in the sink. Just imagine someone standing facing away from the sink, angling their glass of water downwards and just staring at the stream of water hitting the floor. Mom has done the same, but poured the glass of water into a dog cage my cat was chilling in. Cat didn't move but stared at her like, what the fuck? Quote dot. Greater than I also once picked up a razor instead of a toothbrush and just stared at it. These are the best moments, especially when you forget what you were planning to do in the first place. Suddenly you have a random object in your hand and you have no idea why. Greater than mom has done the same, but poured the glass of water into a dog cage my cat was chilling in. Ha ha ha, that poor cat. Sat down by the ocean to smoke a joint with my buddy. He is about to spark up, so I hand him a lighter. Turns out it was dead, so I hand him a second lighter. He then proceeds to throw the good lighter into the ocean like a tit. I just sat there being like, I don't know what I am more mad about here. Not being able to yell "Smoke, are you being an ass" by throwing plastic in the ocean. He was just staring out there, not saying a word, knowing he fucked up twice. Was a pretty classic moment in retrospect. Friend of mine once put the remote control in the oven and then wondered why he found himself in the living room holding a sausage. Remote control was destroyed, and it had previously spent several days in the back of a freezer because of a similar incident. Threw my phone in a lake. Why? Put my box of cereal in the fridge and my gallon of milk on top of it. Stayed that way unnoticed for almost 24 hours. I had 2 cups on the table, one with goldfish, the other with lemonade I was eating and drinking. While watching YouTube, I got deep into the content and ended up drinking from the goldfish cup in. Before I had a chance to react, I had 4 fingers in my lemonade. Took me far too long to work out you didn't mean a pet goldfish. That story would have had a very different ending. Legos bitten instead of snack. I'd be shitting bricks if that happened to me. Legend. Finished chopping some vegetables when my dumb mind made me cut 4 of my fingers at the same time. Delicious. Cigarette burn to the lips. Yeah, it could be worse. I was sitting on the toilet, smoking, threw the butt in the toilet, but it bounced off the lip and hit my pee-pee. My wife once burned her coochie like that. I've ashed in a lot of cups of coffee. I drank my phone and tried to upvote milk. I was studying my notes, which were in a notebook, while also following lecture slides on my iPad. I tried zooming in my notes. Happened many more times throughout the same monsieur. I was making a chocolate drink, Milo, one day, and I pour almost half a bottle of soy sauce into the cup, confusing it with a Milo. Tea bag in the sink, teaspoon in the bin. It happens on an astonishingly regular basis. I had a container of curd in my left hand and a packet on my right hand. Someone asked me what time it was, and when I proceeded to see my watch, which I was wearing on the left hand, I ended up spilling the curd all over myself as the lid was not tightened enough. I used my bare hand to pick up my dog's poop. I know my neighbor saw me also. I just kind of played it off. Tried to put an M&M in my ear and my Galaxy Bud in my mouth. When I was 10, I was watching TV and had the remote in one hand and a cup of hot tea in the other. My dad came in and asked for the remote. Instead of tossing him the remote, I threw my cup of tea and it went all over. Hi, monsieur. The next morning his chest and legs were red. Stuck a dog treat in my mouth and gave my dog my popsicle. She was thrilled. Licked the lid of my yogurt, then threw the full yogurt pot in the bin with a spoon inside. I almost cleaned my ass with my cell phone. Threw my keys into the recycle bin and attempted to start my truck with a crushed Monster can. We've all accidentally sipped bong water at one point or another, haven't we? Oh God, the splashies. Not me, but a friend of mine. I was at a party a couple of years ago. Typical early adult stuff, so everyone is drunk by the end of the day. I myself can't drink, so I've got a front row seat to this glorious event. My friends were all in the same age group, so newly 21-year-olds drinking their fill. You can imagine what happens later. The bathrooms start filling up with a bunch of new drinkers blowing chunks. My cousin and her so happen to be at this party. She's about ready to throw up. Her boyfriend is already taking care of her brother, who had just thrown up. I should mention that the boyfriend is also drunk as fuck. He has a bowl in one hand, half full of the brother's vomit, and nothing in the other hand. My cousin is heaving and all the bathrooms are locked. Trash cans and sink are free, but we were upstairs. No way are these 3 making it down there. So boyfriend looks at his hand in a drunken daze, then to the hand with the large bowl in it, then to his heaving so who's ready to throw up. I look at him, and I can practically see his brain trying to tell him what to do. No good. His motor skills are fucked. So in attempt to help my cousin, he hurriedly moves his empty hand to below her mouth, and catches all of her vomit in his empty palm. Monsieur, I watch in horror as it spills onto the white rug of our friend's house. The boyfriend, as vomit flows throughout his empty hand, stares at his other hand with the bowl in it, and mouths a silent "fuck" as he realizes slowly that his body did not perform the way he wanted it to. It's a story we still tell to this day. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.